Get a shoulder shot of me in this one. I am currently going through the tedious process of cleaning and bagging persimmons. If you don't know what a persimmon is, you are missing out on God's bounty. And I have a mess of persimmons. I've already put 4 or 5 freezer bags of persimmons in the freezer, and I've got a crap ton more. You don't know what a persimmon is? I'll show you one. They fall out of the trees, and you got to hurry up and get them. And the worst part about it is when they fall. This is what they look like. When they fall, they hit the ground and they go thud. And I don't have a sheet on the ground to catch them from being harmed. And then when I get it when I pick them, I get them up. I put them in my shirt because I usually don't have anything else to carry them with. And then they turn up like this because of all the weight, because these things are heavy. It's hard to, and they got 3 or 4 seeds in them. They got a lot of seeds in them. These seeds are delicious, but to clean them and to cook them, you can make a persimmon pudding, which a woman that went to my mom and dad's church, her husband actually, I bought my first car from them. That's one that isn't busted all to pieces. They have this little flat top. This is what they hang in the tree like this right here, and as soon as they're ripe, they just fall out of the tree. And then you pick them up off the ground. But a woman from my church, I got my first car, a 69 Ford LTD from them, and she was one of my mom's church confidants. But that woman can make the best persimmon pudding on the planet. Like I said, look how beautiful that is. Now, you can eat them just like this. They are so sweet. They're not bitter at all. They're very, very sweet. But like I say, when you pick them and you set them in a pot on top of each other, they just turn to mush. And it's unfortunate because it just makes it harder to deal with. But I've never made a persimmon pie or pudding before. I'm probably going to give that a try when everything slows down. I'm just too busy right now to get anything done. See, it just turns to slop. But slop is good. It's just hard to get them really, really clean. And like I said, my first memory of a persimmon was when I was a kid in 7th grade, H.M. Martin Middle School. Beside my house I lived right, there's a corner beside my house on my block. A bunch of kids in our neighborhood when I was growing up. And this was an empty field. It just had a bunch of briars and brush grew up on it. And it had a long persimmon tree in the middle. Now, I didn't really know what a persimmon was. All I knew is you could pick these up and throw them. So, boys will be boys. I cut trails because I always played in the woods. I cut trails through this empty lot underneath the briars. I could go in there on my hands and knees and cut a trail like a little rabbit trail. And then I dug a hole in the middle of the field. I dug a hole underneath all these briars and brush and put a piece of plywood over the top of it. So when a car would come by, I'd stand up and just throw it as hard as I could to hit a freaking car. I didn't know that they had these hard seeds in the middle of it. So one day I pop up and I go to throw, and I didn't know it till I'd already thrown, but I was throwing at a freaking sheriff's car. And I pinged that sheriff's car, hit it on my back glass. Now, I don't know if I broke the window. I don't think I did, but it's possible I did. I used to have pretty good arm on me. So it's possible that I hit the window. But he came out searching, trying to find me. And they searched all over that field, and I just hid up underneath that piece of plywood. They never even knew it. They didn't have a clue, but I had to sit there until dark. And then I had to crawl all the way back to home. And, yeah, it was bad. It was bad. They came out the next day and double-checking who was out there and who did what. And it could have turned out bad. But the good thing about persimmons, like I said, you can make a pudding or a pie out of them. But it's just a natural fruit. Just a natural fruit. And like I said, they are very, very, very sweet. It's just so hard. There's so much weight. And listen, I've got a 5-gallon bucket down here, and it's a quarter of the way full. This is how they come off the line. Just like this right here. Let me clean it up for you. That's what they look like. Just like that. And you just take the top off like that, pull the top off. This is the best way to get them when they're still got a little. The skin's a little tougher, but this is pretty much just a ball of slime now, which sucks. And that bucket, like I said, I waited 2 days to get them up off the ground. I try to get them every day so they don't mush up. And like I said, deer love these things. I was out in the woods this morning. Well, yesterday I was out there, and a deer blew at me. It's the same deer last year. I think it's the 6-point buck that I almost got last year. When I went to shoot my gun, and it just misfired. Just didn't want to fire for some reason. My gun just went poof, didn't do nothing. So I was just practicing where I was going to go today, and it was a long way. When I heard it blow, I looked through the woods and looked through the woods and looked through the woods until I finally saw him. And he was like 125 feet away, way on the other side of a creek. It's amazing he even saw me, because I barely saw him except the light shining through the trees reflecting off his antlers. That's the only way I was lucky enough to see him. Weird. It is weird. But that buck spots me every time, so I've got to either do better, or he's going to have to just grow old and I won't be able to eat it. God, I hate when this stuff is mushed up like this, because it's hard to do anything with it. And I don't want the water, because the water can break them too. The water can just knock the skin right off of them. So I need to try to be careful. What I may have to do is just submerge it in water and hope the stuff falls off. But as you can see, if you get them as soon as they come off the tree, if they don't hit the ground completely, it's a lovely tasting fruit. Craziness. I'm trying to drain some of the water out. I'm trying not to make the bags completely full, because it is so much weight. But it is what it is. Anybody got anything to say? Any questions? Let me. There's a couple channels for Fresh Fermented Audits on there, and there's 4 or 5 of them out in California that run together. It's a father with 2 sons. It's a Impact Media, Lizard Media, and I don't know what the other one's called. And then they roll with another guy called Long Beach Audits, I think it is. Long Beach Observer or something like that. Anyway, they go out to post offices, and they wear funny masks and big hair and long beards, hiding their identity, which, you know, it can be uncomfortable to the boomers of the world. Boomers have just destroyed our country. They sat back and did not pay attention to politics. They didn't investigate anything. When the politician said something, they just said, okay, I'm waiting, like barking seals. Here's one that's not right. You know, the hard shell. This should have been on the tree probably another two or 3 days, if not longer. So you can't even hardly pull the top off of it. This one is not ripe at all. But I was watching a video with Lizard Media yesterday, one of the young sons, and this old man comes up to him and grabs his father's camera stick, and then they all surround the old man and start screaming and yelling at him. You assaulted me! Just screaming and yelling. And this veteran, I'm a Marine veteran, how dare you? I'm a veteran, I fought for this country. And then the guys were like, you fought, you gave your life for my right to record in public. No, didn't happen. People can't stand it when I say that, but I'm sorry. The military veterans never fought for your right to do anything. There's not a veteran alive today or the past 70 years that has fought for American freedom. Not one veteran fought for your right to free speech. Not one veteran alive today fought for your right to do anything. That's like saying the Beastie Boys fought for your right to party. It didn't happen. Everybody loves saying, I fought and died. Woe be it to any American veteran that gets in front of me and tries to say, well, I served my country, I didn't do, you owe me. No. If it's about you serving this country, then give away your free medical care. Give that those $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in down payment for your house that you got. I don't want to hear it. No veteran alive today or the last 70 years that's died the past 70 years fought for American freedom. The last war that was actually fought over freedom was the Civil War. So I don't want to hear the garbage. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous that anybody says that. These are the same people today, and it's always the bearded tattoo veterans that have the most to say about women. I was watching another video today. A random patriot. He's out of Arkansas, and he does good work. He gets on the side of the road in Arkansas. He's found a really corrupt department, like they all are. They're all corrupt. And so a cop was slammed on his head in his own front yard for using the F word in front of a cop. A cop said that's disorderly conduct to cuss in front of an officer. Disorderly conduct to use your speech. Okay, that's how stupid cops are. You already know that, of course. So the cop picks him up, slams him on his head. The man lost his job. He was 23 years with the police department. The cop that did it got a promotion, and he got a half pay rate raise. So in other words, if he's making 20, he's making $30 an hour now. Got this huge, massive raise. And so this guy, Justin, goes out, and he's on the street corner of his town, and he's got a big sign that says, F-U-C-K, cancer. Well, even with cancer, them little old ladies ride by, and they call 911. You can't, that word's against the law. You can't use that kind of language in America. Well, a few people called 911 because he said the F word on a sign. That's obscene. You can't do that. Not true. Not true. Gosh, what a mush. I might save the rest of these for deer. See, you can't really clean it. Okay. Dang it, I hate wasting persimmons. When you see this next bucket, you're going to freak. Let me show you. Let me show you this bucket. Let me show you all the ones in this bucket. Slap full of persimmons. Slap full of persimmons. So, here he is. He's got his sign. And then he puts on there F-U-C-K, police. The police department in that town. Boy, the 911 calls start rolling in. It is amazing in America how stupid people my parents' age and younger are. It is amazing how dumb they are. And you know the worst people at all, who will gladly violate your rights, are church folk. Church folk will violate your rights faster than anybody on the planet. They want their First Amendment. They want to be able to worship God. They want to be able to praise whatever God they say they worship. But when it comes to standing up for your First Amendment right, oh no, you got it wrong. You got it twisted, Skippy. I just find it so abhorrent that people don't understand that. I try my best not to cuss. I used to have the worst foul mouth that you've ever heard. GD come out of my mouth more than they, them, and it, and so. I used to have the worst foul mouth ever. And God delivered me from that, and that's why I try so hard not to get angry. Because when I get angry, my tongue gets a little looser. But it's always church people that are willing to violate your rights. And the excuse is always, there's women and children. There's women and children. Kids today hear more cussing at home from TV than they've ever heard anyone else cuss. So it's like, what are you even making a big deal about? It doesn't matter. It doesn't make sense. See, I hate doing this. I don't want to mess up my persimmons. I mean, that's a chunk. That's a chunk of persimmons. And the more I move it around, the worse it gets. So all these faux Americans, they want the rights that they wrote in the Constitution, but they don't want you to use yours. You use the rights the way I tell you to, or you can't use them at all. You don't deserve them. It's abhorrent that even people my mom and dad's age were never taught the Constitution. I'm coming to the idea that they haven't taught the Constitution since the 20s and 30s. That's what just is so baffling to me. And I really thought about this. I told you guys a while back when I went to the food bank, and there was this woman there with a really, really huge cancerous tumor on her chest. And she didn't have a way to get her groceries home. So I told her, I said, honey, I said, do you want me to give you a ride home? I said, I'll take you home. She said, please, please. So I take her and I get her groceries, and she lived in the hood, which ain't nothing wrong with living in the hood. You got to do what you got to do. And I showed up, and I go to deliver the groceries. Well, when I'm there, there's a cop sitting out in the parking lot. And I asked the little black guy there, I said, what's that cop sitting there for? Man, they sit there all the time. They just wait till we come outside, and then they start harassing us and asking us questions. I said, you live here, right? And he's like, yeah. I said, you live here? And that man just comes in here and harasses you? Well, this is the housing authority. They can harass us if they want to. They're cops. We're black. They can do what they want. I said, no, they can't. I said, the only reason they're doing that is because you're not intelligent about your rights. You don't know the rights that that God gave you. Not that the government didn't give us any rights. God gave us the right to say our mind. God did, not the government. The government didn't do anything but try to limit your rights. If the government gives you permission to use your right, that means you didn't actually have the right to begin with. Okay? And I find that despicable that people don't understand that. I need to save this juice because I could use that to spray down with. Let me see if I can get a bottle. Let me find something to put this juice in. I'm thinking that I can save this persimmon juice and spray myself down with it when I'm hunting. And that's a good idea, Channing. That's a good idea. I'll have me some, because that scent killer stuff is expensive. That scent killer stuff is expensive. But that black guy's like, dude, I said, you don't have to answer his call. Well, yeah, I do, man. If they ask me who I am, I'm a felon. I got to tell them who I am. I said, no, you don't. I said, he's got to have reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime to ask you anything. You don't have to answer any questions you don't want. Really? I said, yeah. I said, why? I said, you a felon? He said, yeah. I said, why are you a felon? Well, they caught me selling dope. I said, I guarantee you, if you would have known me, they wouldn't have caught you selling dope. Well, I said, well, one, you shouldn't be selling dope. I said, but on the other hand, if you don't rat yourself out, the only way they're going to catch you is to catch you. There's nothing you could say to a cop that's going to help you. But I really would love to go to the hood in my area and other hoods around the country and tell them about our rights. Tell them about the Constitution and what it takes to stand up for yourself. Because I don't understand and the false narrative that cops target black folks, it's a lie. It's just not true. Cops do not target African Americans. They're just easy prey because they don't know their rights. They don't know. If you have the right to remain silent, you should use that right. The whole Miranda thing, when they say you have the right to remain silent, that means you shouldn't say a freaking word. They don't say what you say will be used to help you. They say it will be used against you. It is ludicrous. There's nothing good. There's nothing you can say to a cop that's going to help you talk you out of busting your ass. Nothing. They're trained to suspect everybody of a crime. No matter who you are, they're trained to think we're the bad guys. No matter what we do, we're the bad guys. Gosh, that border work made this worse. Darn it. But I always wanted to go to like these rec centers and say, hey man, let me teach you guys how to defend yourself. Let me teach you what you need to do when law enforcement pulls you over. Now I wouldn't suggest them to be on the expert level of Mario like I am when it comes to dealing with law enforcement. Because if you act like me on a traffic stop, you probably end up getting shot. I mean, I probably will one day too, but I don't care. I am so sick of seeing law enforcement rob people. It's like yesterday, I'm coming up the road. State trooper's got somebody pulled over. Well, his partner state trooper is in the lane. The trooper that pulled the guy over, they're off the road. But his buddy that came out to assist parked in the road in traffic, 65 miles an hour, parked in the road. on the busiest time of day, where there's probably I can't even guess the amount of cars that go down the road at that time, but taking two big lanes, fully packed traffic jam, and merging all into one. Why? If you want to be his partner, fine, park behind him, or park in front of that car. But you don't have to be out in the road. It's stupid. And it's just like when I go out places, and cops will be having like somebody pulled over, and they're parking sideways in a parking place because they don't know how to park. I'll crawl their ass. Move your freaking car. Just because you're on a stop doesn't mean that you can park anywhere you want to. Now, they can park where they want to when they're on a stop as long as they got their lights on. But it's just freaking rude, man. It's rude. Why do we have to be such jerks all the time? And a lot of them, they'll say, well, I'm doing that so I can point my camera in a certain direction. I said, but you're not pointing your camera anywhere. You're just making a nuisance of yourself. And that's really all they're doing. Making a nuisance out of yourself. They're too freaking lazy to obey the traffic laws to do it right. But I would like to go to minorities in my area and other areas and just explain to them outright. See, in North Carolina, we don't have an ID law in North Carolina. There's no stop and ID statute. There's no such thing as a stop and ID state. So there are some states where they say the threshold for your ID is less, but the threshold for any ID is always the Fourth Amendment. That means reasonable, articulable suspicion of a crime. So these people that just don't know the basics is just remarkable. I mean, there are certain steps and procedures that you need to learn when you get in your vehicle to drive down the road when it comes to law enforcement. As soon as you know you're being pulled, lock the door. Roll up the window. Have your license and your registration and your insurance right here above your head or right here, right where you don't have to reach to get it. Have it right here near you so you don't have to stress. You take your time. You push the lock button, roll up the window, and then you have your ID here, and then you got your cell phone, and you turn it on. There should not be a time that you get pulled over and your cell phone isn't operated. There should not ever be a time where you don't have your cell phone recorded. Because listen, there are very nice citizens in America. There are law-abiding, cop-respecting citizens out there that have been killed for doing nothing unlawful. It happens. Just like there are thousands of people in prison right now in America that did nothing wrong. Bad things are going to happen anytime you give a cop carte blanche, qualified immunity to do anything they want to do. And especially when they get rewarded to go to court. They get paid double overtime to sit in a courtroom prosecuting you. What's up, Vito? Is my comments broke? Is there something wrong with my comments? Nobody's commented on my channel in days. Like I've gotten 3 total comments and I got a couple just this morning. It's like they shut off my comments or nobody wants to say a word. But guys, we have to get smarter when it comes to law enforcement. We got to get smarter. We got to quit putting up with this garbage. Because listen, they're only going to get worse. Well, how many times you commented, Vito, and they don't let it go through? And I don't have any of that crap set up on mine that says if you use a bad word, your comment don't go through. I don't have any of that censored at all. But we need to be smarter when it comes to cops. You need to start standing up, error sending messages over to go. I know. I guess everybody else just gives up too. It's just like when I share I share something for Facebook. 90% of the time it says link broken. And did anybody go back and look at that comment from that fizzle drap douchebag the other day when I was talking about an artificial sun? That just flew all over me when somebody comes to my channel and tells me that I'm stupid and I'm crazy because I read the news. Tell me there's no artificial sun and then I can send you videos all day long about it. It's just like that debate last night. It was garbage. It was all set up. It was all freaking set up to make Donald Trump look like a freaking tyrant. And I get it. I'm probably a little jaded. I'm a lot jaded. Trump took the bait more times than he should have. It could have been a lot better. All Kamala had to do was show up and not freaking die on stage. That's the worst part. In any other time in America, no one else would have been able to compete with Donald Trump's record. And like I said, I'm not doing a Donald Trump kiss ass party here. I'm just telling you, people don't know how great America was when Donald Trump was our president. Gas, $1.87. Are you kidding me? Inflation down to a 100-year low. More black home ownership than ever. More Latino home ownership than ever. More women home ownership than ever. The lowest unemployment for blacks, Asians, Latinos ever, and women unemployment. I mean, this corrupt media and the folks it doesn't matter. I know for a fact if you show these wackos on the left, you can show them the truth. And it's just like Barack Obama said when he did an interview about 10, 12 years ago. But Trump lost a ton of manufacturing jobs, truthfully. He actually didn't. He didn't lose them. He actually brought them home with tariffs. It was millions and millions of jobs. Because see, this is what you don't understand is all the jobs that Joe Biden said he got, those were bounce back jobs that were lost under COVID. So you can't even give an honest opinion on Trump's job performance when it comes to employment because of COVID. But before COVID, we had the actual lowest unemployment rates ever in American history. Ever. But when COVID came, perfectly planned, perfectly timed, everything went to crap. He actually brought back more jobs than anyone else. And that's people don't understand because they didn't read the actual statistics. It's just like right now the Democrats are claiming that unemployment is like 2%. It's not. Because Democrats, Obama taught Democrats how to judge the unemployment. They don't count the people that dropped out of the workforce. They don't count those people. They don't count the people that just said, nope, I ain't going to look for a job. I'm going to go on disability or I'm going to go on unemployment permanently. They don't ever count that. That's why it's so the way they do it is so dang corrupt. But if you start reading like the Financial Times, you start seeing the actual numbers, then you'll realize how actual good our economy is booming better than ever before. It's not hard to make America work. It's not. You loosen regulations, and I think it was a total of over 4,000 regulations. The rule was that Trump passed was for every one regulation they add, we remove 2. Well, it got up to be an average of 4 regulations that they removed for every one. And day one, when Biden took over, he signed with his pen and got rid of everything that Trump did. Everything. And it's just like Trump said last night in the debate. He said, if you want to fix, you can fix the border right now. All you'd have to do is sign the order and turn on the wall. Turn the wall on. Tell Border Patrol to do their freaking job. Quit playing. You can fix it right now. But they don't want to. They like it just as bad as it is now. They don't care. They want to destroy America. And it's what people don't understand. This is all intentional. They're not accidentally doing this. They've done everything strategically. America runs on fuel. If you don't have cheap fuel, your economy's not going to work. Everything relies on fuel. And you can have the class warfare like, the rich are making too much money. Listen, the rich, these CEOs, do I think it's obscene how much money they make? Yes. But these are private businesses who have enough money to pay it. And a lot of these big companies actually pay their employees well. It's companies like Jeff Bezos's, Amazon, that don't pay worth a crap. We don't make a living wage in America any longer. But think about it. Without that inflation, how much better off would you be? How much better off would you be without the inflation? Because the inflation right now, isn't it amazing how gas prices is starting to come down now right at the election? And these people on the left say, a president doesn't control fuel prices. Yes. When you got a pen and you sign out and you just stop and you increase demand but you cut the supply, that has a direct effect on fuel prices. It's an insane argument. Nobody understands supply and demand. We have the largest exports of fuel ever. Did you know in Saudi Arabia, they pay 35 cents, I think it's per liter of fuel. I think that, I don't know what the conversion rate is, so don't quote me on it, but it's like 35 cents per liter. So to us, that's like paying 50 cents a gallon, 50 to 60 cents a gallon in fuel. Imagine what you could do with 50, 60 cents per gallon. See, the whole plan by the evil elites in charge is to take away our mobility. Because if you go where you want to go, they can't contain you. And that's the whole purpose people need to understand about this electric car agenda, is to be able to turn your car on and off at will. And that's what they're doing. They don't want you to go out. 15-minute cities are coming. They've already been, everywhere these big fires have been is exactly where they wanted a 15-minute city. Happened in Maui, Paradise, California, in Peru, in Chile. There's a big fire the other week, another fire in America. I can't remember what state it was in. But I'm telling you, you can hate Donald Trump all you want. If he doesn't get in there, if he doesn't get to take the White House this next time around, you won't be seeing me anymore because they're not going to let me speak. Your free speech is gone. My free speech is gone. They're not going to let me say a dang another word. I mean, look how much they've already throttled my channel. I mean, I'm reduced to nothing now. I mean, I've got 650 subscribers, but I can't hardly muster 10 people on live stream. I mean, when they got off my back, I had 1,500, 2 grand, 3,500 people listening and watching. It's like all these people now. You heard about the supposedly Russians paid Lauren Chin to, I don't know. I don't even know what they accused him of. Taking money from Russians to have a media company. They're starting up with the Russian disinformation crap again. And they tried to wrap up Tim Pool because they hate Tim Pool. People think that Tim Pool's on the right. He's not. Tim Pool is more lefty than anything. He just isn't radical like those morons. And it is true, the older you get, the more conservative you get. People just don't. So they wrapped up Dave Rubin, which is the token queer for the right. I don't like Dave Rubin. The Bible says homosexuals will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. And the right just opened their arms and said, "Oh, you and your husband are raising a baby together? Oh, how lovely." Nope. And there's one other person, I can't remember who it was. Oh, Benny Johnson. He's a big pro-Trump guy. But they're going to use, and this is what happens. The FBI creates a crime, and then they go out and invite people to join. That's what it is. It is entrapment from the word go. And a lot of people think entrapment, it applies to situations that it really doesn't. But the FBI, this is what they do. They create the crime, and they invite people to come, just like the Gretchen Whitmer supposed kidnappings. You know how many guys, one guy got convicted, and that's because he took a plea deal before the truth come out that it was all set up. But what do I know, right? What do I know? Ungodly, man. It is ungodly how corrupt our law enforcement is. Did you hear about the conspiracy theorist sheriff in Tennessee? So this guy, he messed up. And he was on a couple podcasts talking about human trafficking and all the corruption with the Chinese Communist Party. So him and his agency were busting pedophiles. So then they chased pedophiles down to Chinese real estate companies. And then they started finding links all over the country and then all over the world where it was money laundering, it was financial fraud, it was mortgage fraud. They found like 10 different crimes involved with all these different people. So the news, of course, had to attack the guy. They had to go after him. So they sicked the news on the guy, kept calling him a conspiracy cop. And this guy was getting ready to go to the grand jury and bust a bunch of politicians, a bunch of federal agents. It led all the way to the White House. So what happens? The FBI goes and they call the newscasters in Tennessee and tell the newscasters, "Hey, we got this conspiracy cop." Then they give them the leads And the next thing you know, the TBI, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, rolls in, raids the cop shop, raids the deputy sheriff, the deputy police chief's house. They roll in and start busting the man. They took all his computers, took all his evidence, took every bit of the criminal proof that he had to bust all these people all over America and the world. Cops rolled in, the guilty cops rolled in and busted the good cops. How are you going to stop corruption when you can't stop it? When you can't stop the ones that are doing it? And the ones that are doing it are the corrupt cops. So now that guy's under investigation. And listen, what happens every time the FBI does this, majority of the time, what happens? They go, they steal all the computers, they steal all the information, they found out all the loose ends, and then they wrap it up in a pretty bow and make everything disappear. It's just like, they tried to assassinate Trump a month and a half ago, and you don't ever hear that on the news anymore. We just assume, oh, that one crazy guy just tried to shoot him, but I'm glad he's still alive. We wish he'd got him, but he's still alive. They got rid of that crazy guy. It's over. And nothing else. You hear nothing else about it. Like, okay, we're done. Have a good day. They didn't have to do anything. It is so corrupt. And this is what I don't understand. My story has never changed. Ever. I've told you guys the same thing ever since I come online. My stories don't change. I update you on the criminal activity that they're doing to me. God, this is all turned to mush. Crap. I waited too long. It's too heavy. The FBI is the most corrupt law enforcement agency in the world. And listen, they've always been that way. J. Edgar Hoover was a cross-dressing queer that blackmailed every president, every senator, every person he needed something from, he blackmailed them. And they just kept his files and kept on running with it. I mean, J. Edgar Hoover is the one that helped get... Did you know that Richard Nixon was the most popular... He had the most... how do I say this? He had the largest landslide win in presidential history. Nixon had more people that loved him. He was the most popular president of any president now or since. The most popular, Nixon was. But they had to run him out of there. Why? That war machine had to get rid of Nixon. The war machine kicked Nixon out. They got rid of him in a hurry because he didn't want to go to war. So what they do, they shut him down. And it worked. They shut him down. Set him up for a crime he didn't commit. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't even try to cover up Watergate. Who was the guys that busted him? God, I just had their name on the tip of my tongue. It was the two guys that busted Nixon. And they still work today for NBC. But those same guys were CIA agents. Did you know that? Oh, I just about had it. There's the guys that busted Nixon were all CIA agents. When you go and you start researching, you see how corrupt it is. But see, the people only believe what the news tells them. That's all they believe. They don't know anything else. They're not willing. The American people are too lazy to research. Just like that moron the other day. Well, there ain't no sun. You really think there's two suns in the sky? Well, you're crazy, man. That don't make no sense. God, man, I'm losing. This is like 50 or 60. Let's see if I'm thinking 50 or 60 persimmons. That's just wasted. It's just way too much weight. No, it's probably more than that. Look at all them. I can't get no more out of it. Wow, what a waste. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. It ain't going to go to waste. I'm going to take this and I'm going to make me a spray concoction. And I'm going to have me some scent killer when I go hunting. I got a bunch. I got these. This is 2 bags today. And I could probably muster a lot more. I got 1 bag there. 1 there. I think there's 2 more in the big freezer. I got persimmons out the wazoo. Out the wazoo.
Man, I wish I could remember his name. It was right on the tip of my tongue. American people don't care. They don't investigate anything. They don't want to know. They just don't. They just don't care. God, I hate wasting persimmons. Oh, it is what it is when it ain't. Anyway, I gotta get busy. God bless. Have a wonderful day. Like, share, and subscribe.